now. Let's get into our next topic. American scorer story. All right, earlier this week, the U.S. ran Iran's ass up out of the World Cup. Good thing they're already close to home, but something interesting happened leading up to the match. An Iranian reporter got a little spicy with U.S. soccer player Tyler Adams when he asked if Tyler was okay with representing the U.S. due to its discrimination against black people. Let's watch this.
You know, there's discrimination everywhere you go. You know, one thing that I've learned, especially from living abroad in the past years and having to fit in different cultures and kind of assimilate into different cultures, is that in the U.S. we're continuing to make progress every single day.
Cool question, Mr. Iranian reporter, but did you ask anyone on Iran how they feel about playing for a country that's not only denying women's rights, but arresting and killing protesters who dare challenge how their nation is governed and how women are treated in it? Come on, man. The nerve of you questioning America on our discrimination when y'all out here ignoring women's rights like it's a damn user agreement notification, okay? Now, the man has lived and played abroad and acknowledged that there's discrimination everywhere. It's a valid question that we do discuss amongst ourselves often. You know, how do we proudly, keyword proudly, rep a country that has systemically tried to ruin us since the day this country was founded? Amanda Seals.
Well, first I want to say that there are a number of Iranian players that are actually very against what is going on in Iran, and so much to the point that they are afraid to go home because they could be arrested.
Their families are being threatened.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that it's not a blanket statement that their players are in support of the system that is going on there. The same way that our players are not necessarily in support of the system that goes on here. I think the question being asked to a black player in particular is just like you said, like, how do you have that conflict in you and still represent? And I think what it boils down to is it's not that we have faith necessarily in America, we have faith in us. Black people have faith in us, and we have faith in us because we have shown time and time again that in spite of America's oppression, we find a way.
We're going to make it work regardless. Look at people in the Bronx in Florida. They figured it out.
Listen, I grew up in Florida, and look where I'm at, right here with y'all.
Yeah, that's right. Florida's not all bad, is it?
It's a lot.
I didn't say bad, I said crazy. Now,
It's a lot.
what do you think, Representative Demmings?
You know, as I listened to that interview live that day, I thought, and certainly serving in the House of Representatives, I serve on the intelligence community, we talk a lot about Iran.
Right.
I thought the nerve of the reporter
Yeah.
to ask this black player, because I don't think the question would have come up had the captain not been black. But the nerve, when they have such human rights violations.
Oh, it's disgusting.
That is the law of the land, human rights violation in Iran, right? And so in terms of how do we love this country, I think about black people who suffered, bled, and died so Tyler could be the captain of the soccer team.
Okay.
So we could play football and baseball. And so, yes, America is still a work in progress. We're trying to still work to form that more perfect union. But the nerve of Iran to ask the question about America or to be judgmental.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is, like, black people, we always feel like the true patriots. Like, we're the ones who believe in this country's creed. We're the ones who are out here constantly demanding this country live up to its creed. Why do we have such faith, Trayvon?
I think we have faith because, one, we have to have it. You know, if we don't have it, we lose out the gate. And I think what's important to understand is, you know, we believe, or people want to think that we believe in a version of America that exists and we've told should exist, but doesn't, or we haven't gotten there yet. But I think the issue is, it's not that America is incapable of living up to what it says it's supposed to be. It's we have all the ingredients. It's like if I gave you a car and the engine was in the trunk and the steering wheel was attached to the door, you have all the parts to still make a car that works, but you have to acknowledge that the engine's in the trunk and the steering wheel's attached to the door. Nobody's acknowledging what's happening to us in the way that it happens, so you can't correct the problem. Every day, people are telling us, the steering wheel's not attached to the door. You just say it is. The engine's not in the trunk. You just keep telling us it is. And so it's until we acknowledge that, that's the only way America could ever live up to the ideals we've been told that it possesses.
You know, Representative Demmings, you're a politician. Do you think it's possible to change the system from the inside out, or do we just need a whole new system?
Look, I believe in the greatness of this country because I've seen the greatness of this country. No, we don't see it enough. We don't see it every day, but we are a part of all that is good and right about America. When we talk about this debate that we're having in Florida about Black history and American history, well, Black history is American history.
Yes.
Because we work to build this great nation, right? And so, you know, we just have to, as Trayvon said, we are a work in progress and we have to keep working on this country. But we are a part of its greatness.
Yeah.
And we believe. It's not like we don't believe in America. This is our country.
I don't know if I believe in America. I believe in what Seal said. I believe in us.
We want to hold America to its promise, though.
I would add to that. Go ahead, Amanda.
Go ahead, Seal.
Go ahead.
The America that we're talking about it's never existed. The America that I think Black people deserve to live in has never existed.
Right.
We have to believe that it can exist because we literally built this place. It's actually ours.
We did.
And so without believing that we can have that place, what we're saying is that we don't even have a place if we don't make this place our place. You understand? Like, we are stolen people.
Yeah, that's right.
This was our place that we were able to build. And guess what? This place was stolen from a people. So at the end of the day, we have to, at some point, eradicate, to Trayvon's point, the reality that gaslighting is so deep in what has become the American ideal. We have to eradicate that altogether. So to your point, to your question, I don't think we can change anything from the inside without realizing that we have to scorch the earth. Like, this was never built properly. You built the car wrong from day one.
Yeah. And I think the proof of what you're saying is the fact that America's greatest export is Black culture. Everywhere you look, everybody is inspired by what they'll say is American culture, but it's dressing like Black people, it's talking like Black people, it's dancing like Black people, it's singing like Black people. That's America. Black people is America. And so there are a lot of people who hate that truth. There are a lot of people who don't want to reckon with that idea that we are America.
But you know, back to your question about can we fix it or build it, fix it on the inside, or do we start over? That's why it's so important that we put people in positions of power who want to work towards that America that we are talking about that we have never seen. Elections matter. Who runs corporations matters. Because they are creating the jobs that for us. And so can we do it from the inside? Yeah, I believe we can. If we put people in positions who share our values and beliefs and want to see that America.
I agree with that, but don't you got to start from the beginning, though? Because, you know, when they were doing the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all of that good stuff, none of us were at the table.
We weren't at the table, but isn't it interesting that the founders of this country, with all of their shenanigans, now they had some
That's
shenanigans.
a nice way to put it.
Look, they had some craziness going, right? But they talked about a country that they weren't even ready to accept themselves.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? That they put into the Constitution, into the Bill of Rights, where they didn't even practice at the time themselves. But so their vision, although they were, that's another, invite me back. But their vision was the America that we are talking about. But they were slave owners. They weren't even able to accept it themselves. But they talked about forming that more perfect union. We are a work in progress. And we need people in leadership positions who are serious about building and seeing that America.
Can I add something to that? I think when you say, like, do we need to start over? The answer is yes. The problem is people lack the imagination of what that looks like.
Say it.
People can't see beyond what we see right now. So when you say start over, people go, no, why would we do that? We have everything we need right now. It's like, no, you just lack the imagination of what starting over looks like. And you're afraid of the balance shift that comes with starting over. Because we started from not in the stadium, we started outside the stadium, fought our way into the stadium, and now we're fighting to win the game. But if you start over now, guess what? We all start inside the stadium, and you're afraid of what that race might look like and who might come out ahead.
Can I close it?
Yeah.
I'll also think part of the reason people lack that imagination is because of the lack of education. There has been a hoarding of resources in this nation in a number of different ways. And education is one of those ways. And education is one of those resources that has been hoarded. And what happens is that when people are not able to know the history of other places that have started over, when people are not able to know their own identities, when people aren't able even to know the way that civics operates, they're not able to participate in the imagining of that world. And so when we look at Florida and the effort, the concerted effort that's being made to squelch education in Florida by somebody who could very possibly become the next president of this nation, we have to remember that of all of these things, the economics, the government, the et cetera, education is one of the key fundamental.
True.
Education is one of the key fundamental elements to our liberty. And we can do that and center that in ways that don't even require money. We should be educating each other, educating ourselves, each other, our families, our communities. That's something I try to do on my radio show. That's something you're doing here. And it's something that's going to be imperative for folks to be able to understand that there is a version of America that we have never seen and that we need to imagine from the ground up.
That's real. Basically, what you're saying is we don't want the rest of America to be like Florida.
Well, we're in the age of idiocy. We're in the age of idiocy. We are in the age of idiocy. Like,
All right, Dr. Phillips High School in Florida.
DP.